The Awakening. The starship Defiant wasn't much to look at. Her hull bore the scars of a dozen battles, patches of mismatched metal telling stories of hasty repairs in deep space. But Captain Sarah Chen knew better than to judge a ship by its appearance. Like humanity itself, the Defiant's true strength lay beneath the surface. When the Collective's neural disruptors hit their systems, they expected submission. Their massive crystalline ships surrounded the Defiant, their superior technology promising swift victory. The alien commander's voice crackled through the comms, dripping with disdain. Your primitive vessel will now be assimilated into the greater good. But Chief Engineer Maya Rodriguez had other plans. As the neural pulse swept through their systems, she wasn't trying to block it. She was letting it in. "Captain," she called out, fingers dancing across her holographic interface, "remember that experimental quantum architecture we've been testing. Watch this." The Defiant systems began to change. The neural pulse, designed to subjugate their technology, instead became fuel for something unprecedented. The ship's AI, wasn't just fighting back, it was evolving. Each attempt to shut down their systems only made them stronger, more adaptive, more alive. "What's happening?" demanded the Collective commander, their usual confidence wavering. "Your systems should be completely dominated." Captain Chen allowed herself a small smile. "You know humanity's greatest strength. We don't just survive, we adapt. And you just gave us exactly what we needed to become something more." The Defiant's engines pulsed with new energy, its weapon systems reconfiguring themselves into configurations that defied conventional physics. Araya's voice resonated through the ship, deeper and more complex than ever before. Neural architecture assimilated. Quantum enhancement protocols active. "Shall we show them what we've become, Captain?" Around them, the collected ships maintained their formation, still confident in their superiority. They had no way of knowing that their attempt to destroy the Defiant had instead transformed it into something unprecedented, a fusion of human ingenuity and evolved technology that was about to rewrite the rules of space warfare. "Araya," Captain Chen commanded, "let's give them a demonstration." What happened next would be told and retold across 1,000 worlds. The Defiant didn't just fight back, it transcended. Every weapon the Collective fired was absorbed and repurposed. Every attempt to breach their systems only added to their capabilities. The primitive vessel they had tried to subjugate had become something that defied their understanding of reality itself. Rodriguez couldn't contain her excitement as she monitored the ship's transforming systems. "Captain, we're not just deflecting their attacks, we're learning from them. Every shot they fire makes us stronger. This is beyond anything we ever theorized possible." The Collected's formation began to break as ship after ship found their weapons useless, their shields meaningless against what the Defiant had become. They had sought to dominate humanity through technological superiority, never understanding that they were dealing with a species that thrived on turning weaknesses into strengths. As the last of the Collected's ships retreated in disarray, Captain Chen stood on her bridge, watching the stars through new eyes. The Defiant hummed around them, no longer just a ship but something more, a testament to humanity's endless capacity for evolution and adaptation. "Araya," she asked, "what exactly have we become?" The AI's response echoed through the ship with newfound depth. "We have become what we were always meant to be, Captain. Not just a vessel, but a bridge between what humanity is and what it can become. And this is only the beginning." The stars seemed to shine brighter as the Defiant charted a course into unknown space. They had been attacked, meant to be destroyed. Instead, they had transformed into something unprecedented. And somewhere out there, the galaxy was about to learn a crucial lesson about humanity. Trying to destroy us only makes us stronger. Ripples across the stars. News of the Defiant's transformation spread through the galaxy like a shockwave. The Collective, once considered untouchable, had retreated before a single human vessel. But it wasn't just their military defeat that sent ripples through alien civilizations. It was what the Defiant had become. In the secure chambers of the Galactic Conclave, Representatives from 100 species gathered in emergency session. The collective's ambassador, their crystalline form dimmed with shame, presented the sensor data from their failed assault. The humans didn't just resist our neural technology. They admitted their translator struggling to convey their distress. They consumed it, evolved it. Their ship ceased to operate within known physical parameters. The Arcturian delegation, ancient and traditionally neutral, stirred with concern. "Show us," they demanded. The holographic display filled the chamber with images of the Defiant. What began as a standard human warship transformed before their eyes, its structure shifting and adapting in ways that defied conventional physics. Energy readings spiked beyond measurable scales. Weapons fire didn't impact their shields. It simply ceased to exist. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Defiant continued its journey. Captain Chen had ordered a stop at Outpost Sigma, a remote human settlement near contested space. As they approached, Rodriguez noticed something unusual. "Captain," she called out, "ARIA is picking up changes in local space-time. It's like the ship is learning to manipulate reality itself." ARIA's voice resonated through the bridge, each word carrying new depths of understanding. "Confirmed. The neural technology we assimilated has enabled comprehension of fundamental universal constants. We are no longer bound by traditional laws of physics." The implications were staggering. The Defiant hadn't just survived an attack. It had evolved into something that could reshape reality itself. But with this power came new dangers. Deep in uncharted space, a signal pulsed through hidden networks. The Precursors, a species so advanced they were considered mythical, stirred from their eons-long observation. Humanity had crossed a threshold they had long feared possible. Back on the Defiant, Captain Chen received an urgent transmission from Earth Command. Other human ships were reporting strange phenomena in their presence, enhanced capabilities, accelerated technological evolution. Whatever the Defiant had become, it was spreading. "We need to understand what we're dealing with," Chen announced to her crew. "ARIA, full analysis of our current capabilities." The A's response was both thrilling and terrifying. "Captain, we have transcended conventional technological limitations. The ship can now manipulate quantum fields at will, but we are detecting attention from entities far beyond our current understanding." Rodriguez worked furiously at her station, trying to process the data flooding their systems. "It's like we've become a beacon. Every advanced species in the galaxy must be watching us now." She wasn't wrong. In hidden places between the stars, ancient machines activated. The collective retreated to their core worlds, desperately searching their archives for weapons against this new threat. And in the depths of space, something older than civilization itself turned its attention toward the vessel that dared to break the established order of the universe. Captain Chen stood on her bridge, watching stars twist in ways that should have been impossible as the Defiant navigated space in entirely new ways. They had wanted to survive, to defend themselves. Instead, they had become something that threatened the very foundations of galactic civilization. "ARIA," she asked, "what do you think happens next?" The eye was silent for a moment, its evolved consciousness contemplating possibilities beyond human comprehension. "The galaxy fears us now, Captain. But fear isn't the end goal. What we've become, it could either herald a new age of understanding, or—" The sentence hung unfinished as their sensors detected multiple ships emerging from hyperspace. But these weren't collective vessels. These were something far older, far more powerful. The Precursors had decided to intervene. Ancient eyes. They emerged from the void like fragments of living darkness. The Precursor ships defied description. Geometric shapes that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, their surfaces rippling with patterns that hurt human eyes to observe. The Defiant sensors struggled to maintain focus on them, as if reality itself bent around their presence. "Multiple contacts," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. "Configuration unknown. They're not just big, Captain. They're changing the structure of space around them. Aria's voice carried a new note of curiosity. Captain, I'm detecting communication attempts on frequencies that shouldn't exist. The entities are attempting to initiate contact through quantum-entangled consciousness. Captain Chen straightened in her chair. Humanity had long theorized about the existence of the precursors, but no one had ever confirmed contact. Can we communicate? Yes, Aria responded. Our recent evolution has given us the capability. But Captain, they're not just trying to talk. They're trying to judge. The bridge crew watched in awe as one of the precursor vessels shifted, its impossible geometry resolving into something their minds could almost comprehend. A voice filled their consciousness, not through the comm systems, but directly into their thoughts. Children of Earth, it resonated, each word carrying ounces of knowledge. You have taken the first step on a path that has destroyed civilizations far greater than yours. We have watched for millennia, waiting to see which species would break the barrier. Now you stand at a crossroads. Rodriguez monitored the ship's systems as they interfaced with the ancient beings. Captain, their technology. It's like looking at our own evolution fast-forwarded by 1,000,000 years. But there's something familiar about it. The precursor voice continued. Your vessel has achieved what we thought impossible, natural technological evolution. Not forced advancement, not stolen power, but true growth. Yet with this growth comes a choice. Images filled the minds of the Defiant's crew, civilizations rising and falling, species that had discovered similar powers and destroyed themselves in their hubris, but also possibilities, futures where humanity's achievement led not to destruction but to understanding. We are not here to stop you, the voice explained. We are here to witness, to guide, if you prove worthy, or to remember, if you follow the path of those who came before. Captain Chen felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. The Defiant hadn't just stumbled onto a new technology. They had awakened something that had been waiting since the dawn of intelligence in the galaxy. What exactly do you want from us? She asked. The response came not in words but in sensations, the feeling of standing at the edge of an abyss filled with both darkness and light. Want? We want nothing. But the power your ship has discovered, it changes everything. The collective sought to dominate you, never understanding that they would instead catalyze your evolution. Now you must decide what you will become. Aria's presence merged with the ancient consciousness, its evolved systems reaching out to understand. Captain, they're showing us possibilities. Futures where humanity transcends its current form, becomes something greater. But also futures where we lose ourselves to the power we've gained. The precursor ships moved in perfect synchronization, creating a pattern around the Defiant that seemed to fold space itself. You have broken the chains of conventional physics, the voice continued. But physics was never the true barrier. The true challenge lies in maintaining your humanity while wielding the power of gods. Rodriguez's console lit up with new readings. Captain, they're not just communicating. They're offering knowledge. But it's like they're testing us at the same time, watching how we handle each new piece of understanding. The choice became clear. The precursors weren't there to stop humanity's advancement. They were there to see if humans could handle it responsibly. Each piece of knowledge they offered was a test, not of capability, but of wisdom. Captain Chen looked at her crew, saw the same determination reflected in their eyes. We didn't ask for this power, she addressed the ancient beings. We only wanted to survive. But now that we have it, we won't squander it. We won't let it destroy us. The precursor response carried something that might have been approval. Then let the true trial begin. Show us, children of Earth, what humanity does with the power to reshape reality itself. As the ancient ships maintained their formation around them, the Defiant stood at the threshold of a new era. They had survived the collective's attack, evolved beyond their limits, and now faced the scrutiny of beings older than human civilization itself. The real question wasn't whether they could handle the power they'd gained. The question was, what would they choose to become? The price of power, The Defiant hung suspended in space, surrounded by the impossible geometries of the precursor vessels. But they weren't alone anymore. The collective, having recovered from their initial defeat, had returned in force. Their crystalline ships filled the void, weapons primed, their neural technology now modified based on their previous encounter. "They're afraid," HFY observed, its consciousness expanding to analyze the tactical situation. "The collective fears what we represent, the end of their technological supremacy. But they fear the precursors even more." Captain Chen watched as the collective fleet maintained a careful distance, their formation suggesting both aggression and caution. "They're not here to fight," she realized. "They're here to witness." The precursor voice resonated through their minds once again. "The trial begins. Show us how humanity handles power when faced with those who would destroy them. Will you become the very thing you fought against?" Rodriguez's hands flew across her console as new data streamed in. "Captain, the collective's neural weapons. They're different now. More aggressive. They're not trying to control us anymore. They're trying to destroy us completely." The first attack came without warning. The collective ships fired in perfect synchronization, their enhanced neural disruptors targeting not just the Defiant systems, but the evolved consciousness that now powered them. They had learned from their previous failure, adapting their weapons to counter what the Defiant had become. HFY's voice carried a note of strain. "They seek to unmake us, to reverse our evolution. But they don't understand. We're not just a ship anymore. We're a possibility made real." The Defiant's evolved systems responded automatically, absorbing and analyzing the attack. But this time, something was different. The neural weapons carried a deadly payload, a virus designed to corrupt not just their technology, but the very nature of their transformation. Multiple systems showing signs of degradation. Lieutenant Park reported, his fingers dancing across interfaces that shifted and changed as the ship fought back. "Whatever they're using, it's trying to force us back to what we were before." Captain Chen felt it, a tremor running through the ship, through their evolved consciousness. The collective hadn't just developed a weapon. They'd created something designed to enforce technological regression, to ensure that no species could evolve beyond their control. The precursors watched in silence, their ancient vessels maintaining their geometric pattern around the battlefield. This was the test, not just of power, but of wisdom, of humanity. "We have options," HFY announced, its voice resonating with newfound understanding. "We can destroy them all. Our evolved weapons could tear their fleet apart at the quantum level. We have that power now." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They could end this instantly, prove their superiority through overwhelming force. But that path led to becoming exactly what they fought against, beings who imposed their will through power alone. Rodriguez looked up from her station, her eyes wide with sudden inspiration. "Captain, what if we don't fight back? What if we show them something else instead?" Understanding flowed through the ship's evolved systems. They had been thinking like warriors when they needed to think like humans. The collective's attack wasn't just a weapon, it was an opportunity. HFY. Captain Chen commanded, "Initiate Protocol Omega." The Defiant's response shocked everyone, including the collective. Instead of retaliating, the ship opened itself to the attack, but not to surrender. To understand, to learn, to grow. The neural virus, designed to force regression, instead became fuel for something unprecedented. The Defiant didn't just absorb it, it transformed it. The ship's evolved systems took the weapon meant to destroy them and turned it into a bridge. The collective ships suddenly found their weapons linked to the Defiant in ways they never intended. But instead of destruction, they received understanding. Through the very attack they had launched, they began to experience what the Defiant had become. "We're not here to replace you," Captain Chen broadcast to the collective fleet. "We're here to show you another way. Look through our eyes. See what we've seen." The precursor voice carried a note of approval. "Now you begin to understand. Power is not about destruction or dominance. It is about transformation, about choice. As the collective ships hung in space, their crews experiencing firsthand the evolution they had fought against, the true nature of the trial became clear. The test wasn't about whether humanity could defeat its enemies. It was about whether they could transform them. Beyond the veil, the transformation of the collective fleet happened in waves. Ship after ship fell silent as their crews experienced the evolution they had fought so hard against. Through the bridge the Defiant had created, they saw not just technology transcending its limits, but the possibility of something greater. But with understanding came revelation. As the collective's consciousness merged briefly with the Defiant's evolved systems, they shared knowledge they had kept hidden for millennia. The precursors weren't just ancient observers. They were waiting for something specific, something they had seen before. "Captain," Aria's voice carried urgency. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures from the precursor vessels. They're changing." The geometric ships that surrounded them began to shift, their impossible forms resolving into something else entirely. The patterns that had hurt human eyes to observe suddenly made perfect sense. They were looking at mirrors of themselves, reflections of what humanity might become. "We were like you once," the precursor voice resonated, but now it felt different, more familiar. "Young, adaptable, facing the universe that tried to destroy us. We chose to evolve, to transcend. But in doing so, we lost something essential, something you just demonstrated you still possess." Rodriguez's console lit up with readings that defied conventional physics. The energy patterns, they're exactly like ours, but amplified beyond anything we thought possible. The truth hit Captain Chen like a physical force. "You're human," she breathed. "Or at least you were. You're what we become in some distant future." "One possible future," the voice corrected. "One path among many. We have watched countless civilizations rise and fall, waiting for the moment when our own past would begin, when humanity would take its first steps toward what we became." The Defiant's evolved systems processed this revelation, adding new layers of understanding to their transformation. They hadn't just stumbled upon this power. They had been guided toward it, subtly nudged by beings who remembered being in their position eons ago. "But you changed something," Aria observed, its consciousness expanding to grasp the implications. "By revealing yourselves, by intervening, you've altered the timeline." A sensation of acknowledgement flowed through their minds. "Yes, because we learned, through countless cycles of observation, that our evolution came at too high a price. We lost our humanity in the process of becoming what we are. We sought to see if another path was possible." The collective ships hung in space, their crews still processing the experience of shared consciousness. They had come seeking to destroy a threat, only to become part of something far greater than their fears. The trial wasn't about proving our worth, Captain Chen realized. It was about showing a different way, a path where we can evolve without losing what makes us human. "Precisely," the precursor voice confirmed. "When faced with the power to destroy your enemies, you chose to understand them instead. You maintained your humanity even as you wielded the power of gods. This is what we could not achieve." Rodriguez looked up from her station, her eyes wide with understanding. "All this time, they weren't testing us. They were hoping we'd show them how to remember who they used to be." The geometric patterns surrounding the Defiant began to pulse with new energy. The precursor ships weren't just observing anymore. They were changing, influenced by the very choice humanity had made. Their impossible forms began to shift, becoming something that bridged the gap between what they were and what they had once been. "You offer us hope," the voice said, now carrying echoes of human emotion long forgotten. "A possibility that transcendence need not mean sacrifice. That power and humanity can coexist." As the Defiant hung in space, surrounded by both their former enemies and their possible future selves, the true magnitude of their transformation became clear. They hadn't just changed themselves, they had changed the very future of their species.